Hi, you are listening to The Integral Being with Irina Childs, author, leader, and educator, and the founder of Integral Studies Academy. This is the educational podcast that brings together spirituality and leadership, science and art, creativity, yoga, and innovation. Thank you for listening in. It's a podcast for people wanting to learn how to reach the peak of human potential and live the integral, happy life that you are born to live. I'm delighted to share with you the steps to take you there, as well as clear strategies and esoteric knowledge that can support your everyday life and work by transforming your perspective, taking you from unanswered questions to clarity, from a multitude of opinions to wisdom and unifying reality. Welcome to the third episode, What is Integral Education and Why it is Important? As we are still in the beginning episodes of our podcast, this week I'd like to offer a few definitions that are important for clarity of concepts, and I'll start with the term integral. The word integral, in my view, and also from the perspective of the teachings of Integral Studies Academy, refers to that which includes both esoteric and exoteric knowledge. Exoteric knowledge is everything that science, art, and most existing traditional universities and education institutions offer today and which is explained and understood primarily with the intellect. Esoteric term has been adopted in its philosophical sense and has been used to describe a practice or a person who seemingly has a deep knowledge of the universe and the lessons within it and actively works to connect with those things. The esoteric concept originated in the 2nd century with the coining of ancient Greek adjective esoterikos, or belonging to an inner circle. Esoteric knowledge also means the deeper knowledge of the universe and the lessons within it. The knowledge which exists at the core of all traditions, cultures, and nations of our planet, and which until recently has been kept available only for the few initiates. For example, for the monks or masters in certain Zen traditions, or for monks in Christianity, or for tantrics who were knowledgeable in esoteric traditions in Hinduism and Buddhism that developed in India. We also have esoteric Christianity, or the Sufis, which is considered the esoteric aspect of Islam. There is also the Jewish Kabbalah that has a set of esoteric teachings meant to explain the relationship between the unchanging, the eternal God, or the mysterious, the unseen, and so on. Such esoteric knowledge is, for example, the tantric science of brain breathing, or the occult law of resonance, or the esoteric knowledge relating to the holographic principle. Modern science has taken great interest in the electromagnetic fields, for example, or the behavior of bioenergy, which is the inherent energy principle of the human body. Similarly, quantum physics now comes to explain some of the truths known for thousands of years by the initiates. Primarily, the esoteric knowledge aims in all spiritual traditions of humanity to gain direct knowledge of God and the eternal in this life. So in my teachings, we define all that which connects the sacred, the mysterious, and the divine as being esoteric, both in the human being and in the universe. With the visible, the exoteric, for examples with the discoveries of science. And thus, in integral education, we have the unity of those visible and invisible things, the explainable, the tangible, and also the sacred, the not easily explainable, the mysterious that can be experienced. This is integral knowledge. The second definition that I would like to look at in this episode is that of integral education. Integral education is the education that helps people transformed based on awakening of the supramental capabilities and the awareness that exists beyond the discursive mind. So where we talk about the integral knowledge, mixing of the esoteric and exoteric aspects, the integral education is what allows people to actually unite those two within themselves. From a very early age, I was driven in reaching my own potential and living life to its fullness. In my early teens, I came across Paul Brunton's books and discovered that one can access a profound level of inner mastery, realization, and freedom by undergoing complete spiritual transformation, something that rishis or enlightened people did. This discovery has sparked in me a new level of thirst for knowledge, for what is meaningful and relevant, for what is less transient and which is both here as well as eternal. The integral education helps a person to integrate with its true self, its surroundings, society, its country, and humanity, and to become the complete being and the person it was born to be. The awakening of the supramental or the supramind fundamentally transforms the way we perceive reality, the way we make connections, the way we understand our own life and the events in it, the way we access knowledge. In the writings of great sage Sri Aurobindo, he also talks about the supramind, and he also calls it the silent mind, which can further deepen into an experience of the silent Brahman consciousness or cosmic consciousness. The supramental perspective is a realm that exists beyond the common mind, beyond all mindsets. Living in this realm and with this perspective, one can be free from the tyranny of worry or the repetitive thoughts of any fear and the disruptive mind. Scientists estimate that this human mind thinks between 60,000 to 80,000 thoughts a day. That's an average of 2,500 to 3,000 thoughts per hour. Other experts estimate a smaller number of 50,000 thoughts per day, which still means about 2,100 thoughts per hour. This too is a great number of thoughts. These are a majority repetitive thoughts. So if you want to know what kind of thoughts you have predominantly, you can do a very simple experiment. Maybe do it for 3 days. The experiment involves a practical exercise. And I created this many years ago to observe and act upon my own intellect. And I have been teaching this also to the students at our academy. And it's very easy to do. So this exercise is like this. Take a blank piece of paper first thing in the morning and split in about 5 columns. The first thought you observe, give it a category. So the first thought you observe, for example, let's just say it comes into the category of family. Then every time a thought about your family appears, just put a line in that column. When you notice a new category appearing, it might even be immediately that you notice many thoughts bubbling at the surface. Just write down this under new categories. Not every thought, but the kind of category this might belong to. There might be categories like work or studies or holidays or sports, fun, a certain person, if you have recently had a debate, politics, etc. Make sure you make this into categories. And again, every time a thought about a certain category appears, just put a line in that column. This raises your own perception of identity. Majority of people identify themselves with the roles they play in the family, in the circle of friends, and at the work they do. This identity starts primarily from the identification with its own thoughts and emotions. So by doing this exercise and remaining aware of your thoughts and your categories of thoughts, you can raise your own identity from that of being submerged and totally identified with the thoughts process into that of becoming an observer of your own thoughts. This is a very first step towards awareness, towards raising your consciousness vibration. The perseverance in this exercise for a week can lead to considerably improving the awareness, the attention, the capacity to observe, and also more and more being able to detach and observe rather than be caught in the movement of the mind. I'll talk in a new podcast about detachment and the power of detachment and how this can improve the quality of life and the level of happiness. I'm very curious to know the results you have with this small exercise of awareness. and I'll continue to share more on supramental knowledge soon. Until then, come and join me in our Integral Being community, where I'm happy to respond to any questions you might have. Wishing you a wonderful week ahead, and I hope to see your results of this first experiment together in our Integral Being community. Thank you for your attention. If you'd like to know more, join our awesome community called Integral Being. Just go to facebook.com/groups/Integral Being. Alternatively, you can get hold of my free guide and relaxation audio on how to go from stressed to refreshed that can be found on integralstudies.co.uk. Thank you for listening to Integral Being Podcast, the voice of Integral Studies Academy.